ABC's Jimmy Kimmel is in the hot seat. We're getting this on screen after Donald Trump calls for his resignation. The president wants him out. Yeah. And he's not holding back. Wait till you see what he just put out. So ABC's Kimmel in the hot seat. Donald Trump wants him out, and he wants him out now. So apparently this is in part, well, there's a whole bunch of things going on, right? Like if you watch the show regularly, you know we've reported on it at length. And it gets back to, well, what happened with Charlie Kirk, right? Charlie Kirk, who was a friend and who I put on TV like 10 years ago. It was one of his first times on TV, and I just remember saying to my producer, gosh, that kid's good. Let's get him back over and over and over again. He became a regular on both my shows at Fox, including the primetime show I had there. I just love the way Charlie thought about things because it was always different. He'd have a new angle. He had a great sort of vast historical knowledge, and so he just thought about things in ways that maybe, you hadn't thought about before. I also liked him because too often in this business, somebody's reading talking points that some, Republican strategist is dishing out. Charlie never, that wasn't his shtick. He always had a better reason for something. And so you get sick about I get tired of it, right? Hearing the Republican talking points. I want to hear something fresh. I want to hear something new. And I always heard that with Charlie. And for Jimmy Kimmel to do what he did right after his death, I mean, it's pretty atrocious. I think it has something to do with, the wifey. He seems to like to fish in the company pond because his ex-wife was his wardrobe stylist from The Man Show. And the new wife is his executive producer and his head writer. How do you like that? So I was wondering the whole time, how does nobody tell Jimmy on his team, hey, you might be a little off on this. Larry Tribe, the constitutional law professor from Harvard, went down over the weekend because he tried to say something similar about the guy who murdered Charlie. He tried to say something similar, and guess what? He was destroyed to the point where he had to take it back online. So why would you, Jimmy Kimmel, go and say such miserable crap? Is there not one producer on your entire team that has the guts to say, hey, this isn't really right? And then I found out his wife was the producer and the head writer. So, you got mom and pop there running the show, and none of the younger producers on the team, I guess, are daring to say boo. So, now we know more about the Epstein documents. We will know even more in 30 days. At present, there are reports that roughly 87 or 89% of the funding that Jeffrey Epstein gave out to political candidates went straight to Democrats. And I'm sorry, but who was the one texting with him? Oh, the representative on the Intelligence Committee from the Virgin Islands, a Democrat. We're going to find out a lot. I'm just saying. And so Jimmy's trying to get ahead of it, right? Because he's got to look out for his peeps. Wonder if he's in there. And so this is what he said on the air. And this is why Donald Trump is like, buddy, you're done. Watch.
We are carefully following the path of Hurricane Epstein right now. It is a Category 5. It's expected to make landfall sometime very soon. We are now one step closer to answering the question, what did the president know and how old were these women when he knew it? Yesterday, both the House and Senate voted to release the long-withheld files related to a man who considered himself to be Trump's closest friend for more than a decade, the late sex criminal Jeffrey Epstein. The vote in Congress went 427-1. It was such a landslide, Trump might actually be able to rebury the Epstein files under it.
So Donald Trump didn't really appreciate that to the point in which, and let me change our lower third here in real time because it's not just Joy Behar that's at risk, but Trump is calling for ABC to fire Kimmel. Let me share with you what he just posted on social media. I think we have a copy of the graphic here, and he's pretty sick of this guy. I mean, again, the Charlie stuff, and there was no apology. Remember, there was no apology. And now this stuff, I mean, granted, it's not a news show. I think in some ways the View's in more trouble than this, but here we go. why does ABC fake news keep poor, or rather Jimmy Kimmel, a man with no talent, and very poor television ratings on the air? Why did the TV syndicates put up with it? Also, totally biased coverage. Get the bum off the air. Tell us how you really feel. Let's get the bum off the air, he said. Look, is anybody watching? I don't think so. I think the ratings have done extremely badly. I think the show's not making a ton of money. I mean, you got to pay for that whole big live studio audience, but, Jimmy's got something on someone, right? Or the wife does. I mean, the wife, the producer that despises Trump. Do you remember what she said? I showed this to you guys, right? Like a couple weeks ago. Remember, she was going off about how she can't even talk to family members anymore. Her family members, because, they supported Trump. She comes from St. Louis, from a Republican family, and she just cannot believe that anybody would support one Donald Trump. I mean, she's quite boring, so I don't know if we need to watch it again. But, she's out there talking her book. And I'm just saying, like, guys, this is really bad timing. You heard what he said to ABC just the other day. Do you really want to go there, Giuffre? I mean, maybe you're looking for a gig at MSNBC. You could work at MSNBC. You know that? Totally fine. You should work at MSNBC. They're spinning off. According to Scarborough, it's going to be great. Oh, they're going to get a cash infusion. Yeah, all right. You keep telling yourself that because your business is really dead. And hey, it's all over here. But you keep telling yourself that. I don't know what investor would ever want to invest in a cable company right now. But hey, they're going to spin you off and they're going to be looking for shows because they got no ratings. I mean, that poor Peppermint Patty filling in for Rachel Maddow. And Rachel Maddow can't even deliver these days. That's a disaster. I mean, the whole thing is a mess. They don't know what to do. They're spinning it off because Comcast wants to get really far away because, hey, Comcast is governed by the FCC with its NBC flagship network. MSNBC, they can do whatever they want. I'd say go hire Jimmy, Yeah, let Jimmy do Rachel's show. He's, she's kind of a comedian too. And, maybe he'll get even lower ratings than her. We'll see how that works out. I think he might actually really and truly be auditioning for his job at MSNBC because he knows that the handwriting is on the wall. And again, I say this as a huge defender of the First Amendment. And I would personally, if I were Donald Trump, probably spend more time going after The View because it is produced by ABC News. Jimmy Kimmel, on the other hand, is just an ABC product. So there's a little bit of a distinction in that Jimmy Kimmel is supposed to be an entertainment show. Granted, it's an entertainment show that clearly is very, very biased in its entertainment. And in general, as a network, you can't have that kind of bias. You can't have that kind of bias because of the rules with the Communications Act, because of the rules with the News Distortion Act, and communities have to be able to trust what they're seeing and hearing on television, especially when it comes to the news department, which brings me full circle, of course, back to The View and why I don't know how that show can possibly stay on the air. I know Brandon is looking into it, and I know that they've given them repeated warnings. I think, Jimmy, it's a lost cause because he's just too damn expensive. And they get the live studio audience and they have the band. And, unfortunately, he just lost one of his band members. But it costs a lot of money to do all that stuff. And you can do it so much more cheaply, right? I'm proof of it here every day with my own little studio, right? You don't need a big live studio audience. Heck, I got you guys, which is actually totally different. Think about that. Okay, you're not applauding me in real time in a stage environment where I can see you, but I can see you right here. Don Bacca's reminding you guys, smash those likes. It helps the algorithm. But I see everything that you're saying. And so this is kind of a different version of that, if you would, a freer version of that, less produced, etc. Piece of my mind saying, hey, just let the poor rating go and the market will sink the show. Yeah. Because at some point, I don't know how Iger says, this is really making financial sense. it's not like the company has cash to burn. Let me see how the stock did today, by the way. We, are not really very big fans of Disney shares over at my company, 76 Research, because it's been dead weight for how many years? I mean, Disney has just been look at that, $102 after hours. It's trading down 97. Ooh, they really don't like what the president's saying, I guess. Look, Disney, you've invited this controversy yourselves. You are being investigated for your DEI policy, which, according to the Supreme Court, is against the law because it's actually unconstitutional. And Brennan Carr is looking into all these affinity groups that you had where you allegedly were only hiring people that checked off these various boxes. And we've got video of Bob Iger that I've showed you before right here on the Trish Regan show, where he's talking about how great this is and how wonderful for the company. So it's like living, breathing proof. They've already paid $16 million. The question is, how much more are they going to have to pay? It's not a good setup for Disney right now. Trust me. And Trump's coming for him. The FCC is, and he'll have the backbone to do this. It's sort of funny. If you think about it, guys, he is single-handedly helping to force this rather significant change in media. I mean, do you even think for a second that ABC would be, willing to entertain the idea of a spinoff, say, of ESPN, which actually it had been looking at. They've decided to kind of hang on to it for a while because apparently Nexstar didn't make such a great offer for ABC in general. So Bob said, I can't sell it for that, right? That's going to look really bad. So they didn't get a deal done, even though he wanted to get a deal done. He, like Comcast, wanted to get rid of this stuff. In the meantime, similar story going on over at Discovery, right? At Discovery, they're like, Warner Brothers Discovery. They want to get rid of all their cable assets. These things are like hot potatoes. And the networks are trying to be more streamlined. Every network that is, except for ABC. I mean, even CBS. Let me see if I have this sound for you, because this is actually really important for you to hear. One of the reporters for Sunday Morning went out and did a very, very interesting interview with the woman who was the biographer for Virginia Giuffre. Remember, she was the sort of very prominent victim that came out against Prince Andrew. And unfortunately, tragically, is no longer with us. But I think it's important to hear what she said in this interview with the reporter at CBS. I was kind of thinking to myself as I watched this, I was like, wow, this is positive for Trump. Is there any reason that are they trying to be a little bit less biased now, given everything that everybody's been through? Let's take a listen.
Trump at all in your discussions?
Oh, she absolutely did. I was in Australia in October, weeks before the presidential election. She was a huge Trump fan. Two reasons for that. One, she had met Trump on numerous occasions because she worked at Mar-a-Lago Spa in Florida, which he owns. And her father also worked there and knew Trump pretty well. So she was introduced to Trump. He was kind to her. The second reason she wanted Trump to be president was because he campaigned on releasing the Epstein files. And she was excited about that. So yes, we talked about Trump a lot.
As a crusader to release the Epstein files, in that sense.
She was very excited that he had made that one of the main planks of his campaign. And she felt validated by it.
Interesting.
But she never talked about him in any sense that he was involved in any of this.
No, he was not, as far as she knew. And again, she was there for 2+ years. But as far as she knew, he was not involved in the ring of trafficking that Epstein was working.
Okay. Interesting, right? Just really interesting. And almost surprising that CBS would put that on. But here's the woman who knew Jeff well, that wrote her biography, and she's coming out and saying that she kind of saw him as a hero, that he was, helping to validate everything that she had been exposing. So, yeah, I just think that, I think there's a lot to this story. Honestly, guys, I've told you before my theory, which is neither here nor there, but I do have a source, Epstein's doctor, actually, who spoke with him the night before he passed away. And he said to me, look, he was in very high spirits. He was in, a great mood. And he was talking about some personal issues like his constipation. Sorry. He's like, that doesn't sound like a guy that would be about to do what he allegedly did. So who knows, right? I mean, my buddy Dan has seen evidence that suggests that's exactly what it was. And, if it walks like a duck, it talks like a duck, it's a duck. But I think there's still a lot of questions. And I would not be surprised if at some point we find out that this was something that was known about by our so-called deep state and tolerated. And that's kind of really, really awful, right? Really, really awful. But anyway, we'll see what happens. I mean, I think the next 30 days are going to be kind of interesting, little bits of leak here and there. And I feel bad for all I don't actually feel bad, let's be honest. I mean, what I feel bad is I don't want any innocent people somehow getting caught up in this, right? Like that's what's challenging. And you look at, for example, the hearsay that was being traded about Donald Trump, where Epstein and his friends are like joking around, and everybody's taking this like gospel truth just because Epstein's like making these like crass comments. Epstein did not like Trump. Obviously, he wouldn't be talking to the lady from the Virgin Islands who was cross-examining Michael Cohen if he really liked Trump. That doesn't make any sense. He did not like Trump. So why are we to assume that just because Giuffre says, oh, he's this, he's that like somehow that's gospel truth? I don't think so. So there will be people, right, that come out in this, or maybe he's making a comment about this one or that one or this one or that one. And that's unfortunate, because I would hate to see the media like jump on that and expose people just because Giuffre had an opinion on them. We'll see what does come out. I don't feel bad for anyone that knowingly engaged with this guy, which means I don't feel bad for the lady from the Virgin Islands, not one single bit. This one, Plaskett. She kind of deserved to be censured. She very much deserved to be censured. Apparently that did not happen. That did not happen because there was a backroom deal we hear that went on, Corey Mills, for Plaskett. I don't know if I would have made that trade, but that is me. Did we talk about vitamins and good stuff like that today? Have we done that? Balance of nature? Oh, well, we'll save that perhaps for tomorrow's show. I do think that there's a lot going on, and we need to be mindful of all that's going to come out. And I need you to subscribe to this show. I also need you, I'm going to give you the Spotify link, because you need to have that as well. It's a way to always be in touch with me. And I would ask that you come every day to the channel and just look for the bell and make sure that you are signing up so that you can in fact get all this information. It's let me see if I can, I'm going to add this here in the notes for you. So let me just, amazing what I can do. Who knew that Trish Regan was so technical? It's a pretty impressive thing, but I want to give you this because it's just important that we always have a way to connect. Is it working? Oh no. Let's see. I may have misspoken. Here, copy link, right? I can do this. Some of you have signed up for Spotify, and I thank you for that. I thank you for that, because we were like at just a few thousand subs, and now we're at like 15,000 subs. So thank you. We're like almost 1.2 million over here. It's fantastic, but you got to subscribe. You've got to hit the bell and hit it for all the alerts, so you know exactly when I'm here every day. I know I could tape this ahead of time, and then you could have it magically every day at noon, but it's important to me to have this connection to you. I like to see what you're saying in real time. I get a kick out of it. Oh, 101 doesn't have Spotify. You can get it for free. And the show is free on Spotify. So just check it out. Leave a comment. If you could, you have to watch it for a little bit in order to leave a like or a comment, I think. 5 stars only, please. 5 stars only. Anyway, great to have you all here tonight. Thank you for everything that you do to make this a success. I put my heart and soul into it, as you know, and it means a lot to me that you care and that you're here. So I will see you tomorrow, right back here, live every day, Monday through Friday, sometimes Saturday, on The Trish Regan Show.